Welcome to the Challenge Chronicles. I'm Devin Jordan. This is our second video show. If you're watching or listening to us on the Mayo Media Network, you can see what we look like and watch the podcast in full form on our YouTube channel, which is on the Challenge, which you can find if you search in YouTube, the Challenge Chronicles. You can also subscribe to us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, or most other places that you listen to podcasts. You can buy Challenge Chronicles merchandise at bigdubdiesel.com, dub with two B's, and we'll leave a link in the show description. And if you want to listen to older episodes of the show that we've done in the past, we have all of our recaps of seasons of older seasons of the challenge, from Battle of the Seasons to The Island, in our podcast feed. We'll leave some of those in the show description below. We've also done episodes on top seasons, top competitors of the challenge, and a preview of the much anticipated OG season, which we'll leave down below too. I'm Devin Jordan. I'm with Trace Armstrong and Rob McIntyre, and we're here to talk about episode 11 of Double Agents, right? It was 11.
Yep, it was 11.
It was 11.
Dude, this mission. Well, all right. So right off the top, yeah, I was wrong about Lolo. You guys were right. Like, I think
I'm just pissed because I don't win any money off of it, because everybody I bet on this stupid bet when it ends up like leaving or getting injured.
So that's the thing. Like, how many episodes of the show do you think she had ever watched before?
I mean, she was on basically the show.
I know, but
before.
do you think she had ever like seen?
And she hosted the War of the Worlds 1 reunion.
Do you think she's ever seen an episode of the show? Like, do you even think she went back?
I think she's seen an episode, but
she was
did
actually
she study
literally. If you go back and rewatch the War of the Worlds 1 reunion, she's actually good. She knows what she's talking. She's not Nick Young. She knows what she's talking about. So she's clearly watched some of the show. She knew what she was getting into, and she couldn't handle it.
She seems like she's the type of person that like would be on a show and not actually go back to see what she was like on the show.
I mean, she hosted a reunion on the show and like was able to discuss it. Like, she talked like somebody who had seen the show at the very least. She was not Nick Young. She was competent.
This is me just leading into, like, she didn't have enough knowledge of the show to know that she's probably going to get a shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, and everybody last season got a chance to skull.
Because she, like, if you look at the like group of people around her when she's quitting, like, some of them looked like really confused. They're like, what the fuck is going on right now? Like, if you look at Fessy and Josh, they're like,
a lot of them there. There was like
the
last
whole
episode was Devin and Josh.
there by the end of it.
There's like 9
because
people.
like people couldn't believe it. They're like, she's really quitting? Like, so do you like? What do you think it was?
I don't buy that excuse, dude. I don't think that's why she was actually. I think she was just done.
Yeah,
I don't think that she was quitting because she thought she couldn't get in. I think.
Why do you think she quit then?
I
don't know.
Done.
That's what I'm saying.
I think she was miserable. I think she was done. I think she was like upset that she wasn't winning and was like the kid saying, "Screw you guys! I'm taking my ball and I'm going home and playing Xbox."
Here's what I think happened. This is what I think it was. She was an Olympic athlete. If you compare her in episode 1 to where she is in episode 11, the challenge house broke the Olympic athlete. And the reason it broke her was just the being on camera that long without a break, number one. I don't think she was prepared for that. Because on Champs versus Stars...
She was on Big Brother, right?
She was on Big Brother.
That's different, though. It's a completely different game, in my opinion. Because Big Brother's politics. That's it. That's
terrible, isn't it?
Yeah, but here's the thing. The challenge is also a physical competition, and she didn't win a single
I think she was pissed she's getting it handed to her by Big T and by Casey. Like, she's pissed that she's like showing up for this, and it's like, why am I not just winning?
Big T winning that event broke her. Like, she was done after that.
It would be really interesting to have a conversation with her and just be like, it's like, what happened? Like a real conversation. You probably have to have a conversation. You'd probably have to have you'd have to have a conversation with her where it like wasn't being recorded. You know what I mean? So you could get like the actual like
off the record.
Maybe have a sports psychologist with you.
Yeah, and Rob, she could say exactly what you said and just be like, I was mentally done. You know what I mean? I couldn't handle it.
I think that's what it was. I think she was done.
Yeah, because like I don't know.
On Champs versus, she was a mess. And they were in an LA hotel. They were not being recorded the whole time. They had plenty of free time. They were going out to the park and like playing touch football, and they were playing touch football, and she's flipping out. Like Like it's just not there, dude. Like,
do you think?
And I kind of feel bad for her in the sense that she's like she's 38. This is her first season on the show. She clearly seems like somebody who's just not great at maintaining social relationships in any setting. And then she's paired with a partner who has somewhat of a language barrier, even though I think most people can sympathize with him for the most part. And clearly he was like not prepared to deal with Lolo. But like I think it wasn't there, man. Like you can't just be an athlete. You have to have there's a special kind of edge and a special kind of mentality you have to be on the show and be successful. And she didn't have it.
Yeah. And what I'm about to say might come across as controversial, and I mean it kind of seriously, but also in jest. So anybody that's going to get up in arms, if you listen to the show, I tend to be the court jester, if you will, because I'll just say it.
Well, my Gmail account disagrees.
Okay, so she publicly, and I mean this very publicly, if you go on her Twitter, you go on her Wikipedia page, what I'm about to say is very public. Homegirl is saving her virginity for marriage. She's 37, 38. That girl just needs to get laid and release some tension, man. She is wound tighter than a friggin' drum watching the show. Seriously.
So where is she from again? Like, what's her background?
She went to Stanford, right?
Yeah, but she's not from...
Didn't she go to LSU? Didn't we look this up?
Oh,
I think
LSU.
we did. It was
right.
LSU. Let's see here.
Yeah.
But like, where is she from? Like, is she from some small town in the Midwest? Like,
she is from...
I don't even think it's like
Des Moines, Iowa.
She's from Des Moines, Iowa, Rob.
Des Moines is like not like for a place in Iowa. It's not like a
right. But
state.
if you were to compare the conservative Des Moines, Iowa to even Atlanta, it is a different world. Completely different world.
It's 214,000.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. That's a pretty decent size because
my town of Birmingham is bigger than Des Moines.
I think it's more so just the fact that she is an Olympic athlete. I think you just have such a different like training and a mentality regimen there that doesn't prepare you for something like this. Like I think it's just different, man. And people like want to make it this binary thing where it is or it is, like it is a sport or it's not. And she didn't have it, and she thought she would.
There was another really good comment she made in her confessional. She was like, some of these people's training is just drinking beers. I should be able to beat these people. And that was a comment that she made in one of her confessionals. And it was obviously shot after she decided to quit because she had the same clothes, the same hairstyle as she did at the end of the episode.
Well, she's had that. If you go back, honestly, before this season, because we've been paying attention to it a lot and it has come up a lot, I think she's been in that outfit multiple times. So I think she was shooting a lot of confessionals after she left earlier in the season.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to.
Possible.
So I wrote this down in my notes, and I want to see what you guys think. Is this one of the best edits ever in an episode for someone that left the show? Like, I mean, they really handled. Yeah, they handled this with like kid gloves.
I think they've made a conscious decision to change how they edit people who leave the show, because I think that's a good change. Just because they've had so many people that have had legitimate mental health issues from being on the show, that's something they need to pivot to. That needs to be something that's more okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's think about.
I think that's a completely conscious change.
Well, let's think about the people that it happened with this season. The only person that left voluntarily was Leo, right? And that was for good reason. So like, I think that, but he didn't really get like much of, he had like one confessional or like one kind of like scene before he decided.
He had a few sympathetic confessionals. He had him talking to a few different people. Like,
because he was talking to Nani.
He had one scene with Nani, and then he was gone. Right, that was pretty much it.
It is crazy just like thinking like we've got so much freaking Lolo and Nam, and it's just leading up to Lolo leaving.
Mm-hmm. I do have a hot take about this episode that is going to probably shock both of you. I thought this was the best single episode since War of the Worlds 1, and I'm not kidding. And I have reasons.
Why?
I have lots of reasons.
Why?
I thought this episode was garbage.
No, I thought this was amazing because I finally have figured out the storytelling holes that we've been missing, because they were just planting seeds the entire season, and now we are seeing those things blossom into storylines that are happening now. Think about this. beginning of the season, Darrell multiple times in a confessional as a sideways comment. You can't trust those Big Brother people, man. You got to watch your back with them. What did he do this episode? He became the Big Brother people. He turned his back on the OGCT because it was better for his game to work with the Big Brother people. So, like, they were planting seeds for the fact that Darrell was going to side with new cast members over the OGs that are on the show.
We're going to need to have, like, a show like Top 6 Weirdest Trace Armstrong Challenge takes. Like, this is like, like, Devin, what's weirder, this or Paula being best female ever?
This
is really outside.
Here's
the
another
box.
storyline that has been slowly.
I thought it was good. I would say this is the best episode to not include an elimination outside of finals in like a very, very long time.
So this is you. So when was the last episode that you think was better than this? The Laurel episode in World of Worlds 2?
I think it was better than World of Worlds 2.
War of the
Worlds 1.
Yeah,
War of the Worlds 1.
War of the Worlds 1. So you think this is better than that? This is a scorching hot take.
I told you, I'm coming in hot tonight, man. I've had my Wheaties. I'm
this, like,
sober, drinking my soda water, man. Like I'm coming in hot.
This is just like.
So this is better than the cut-up episode of D last season. The episode
that's the worst.
Well, the unreleased version.
Oh, the original version, the unedited D. Yes, it is better than that.
After that, the episode
at the beginning
of the season, you got mad at me for not saying was the best episode ever when it was Nelson sacrificing himself for Corey.
I said that was a very top tier episode.
No, go back and listen to the tape.
It's hyperbole. We're doing a show here. It's entertainment.
Well, that's what we're holding you to at this point.
All right. But the way that I felt watching this episode is several little storyline seeds that had been sprinkled that seemed to be leading nowhere started to pay off in this episode.
I agree.
The Nam Lolo situation finally paid off.
Finally, good. We can put that to bed. Don't have to go back to bed.
But what was really funny, I thought at the end, was Nam saying, "Hey Lolo, love you." Wait, no, I mean love you, like you. And he was trying really hard not to tell Lolo he loved her because she's a little nutty.
A lot of bad partner chemistry this season.
So you had that, you had Darrell, and the other storyline, and I'm telling you, this is where this is going. CT is not going to help Big T get a skull. Period. That is not happening.
I think you could help her get a skull. It's not a part of her team.
I think you could be right. I think he's going to pick Cam if he wins the elimination.
That would be such fire. Oh my God.
And I'm telling you, they have been. I usually am the first person to criticize the challenge producers and editors, okay? I finally have figured out what's going on and what stuff is building to. And now I am seeing that normally we have plot threads that go nowhere. All the plot threads I thought were going nowhere are starting to get paid off now. So like whoever is editing this season is really doing a good job, because when this episode was over, I could not wait to watch next week's episode. And I rarely feel that way.
Do you think he would do that because of he's in the same alliance with Kyle? Or do you think at that point he has a skull and it's like, screw you? Like,
well, he's about to throw himself in against Devin. Who cares?
Yeah, but that's not voluntarily. You know what I mean?
Like, it is voluntarily. He's choosing to do it.
No, like he didn't choose for Devin to be in there, and everyone knows that he's going in regardless, and everyone's sympathetic towards him because everyone's sympathetic towards him going in now because everyone else knows that everyone is trying to not let him be in elimination. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, he doesn't have a choice here. He has to go in right now.
Mm-hmm.
If he wants to win.
Well, Devin, we just said Lolo was going to get a shot. I think he could pass by now. I don't think he should.
I think this is his shot. Like, this is the shot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like everyone gets one.
I think if he passed by, he'd still end up getting a chance to get a skull. I just don't think that's going to happen. I could be wrong, but I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't know. I think Devin's right. He has a shot. He does not know if he's going to get another one, so he's got to shoot this one. If he gets Josh, he's happy. If he gets Devin, he's happy because he's probably going to beat Devin, but he's losing a number. So to me, him switching partners is about ensuring he doesn't get thrown back in, because he's not part of that Big Brother alliance. And the fact that he now knows that Darrell is working with them and Darrell finally chose a side, what will happen is they will throw CT in there against everybody trying to get rid of his skull.
This is the first we've seen Darrell doing anything, by the way.
I know.
Outside of confessionals, literally the only thing he's done.
I thought he was going to go in just because of like the huge visibility spike that he had at the start of the episode, because they gave him a lot of content like very early on. But real quick, so like I think everyone gets their shot, but you have to be able to like take the shot. You know what I mean? Like it's very possible that Gabby's shot was last week and she just completely blew it.
See, I don't even think it works like that. I think we get down to 6 people and there's still another elimination. And then like, I mean, like at that point, if there's going to be 5 skulls, like I just don't see how the math works out where anybody leaves without one.
No, it's possible.
I think he would be fine.
So we talked about what do we think is going to happen with Nom in that spot now that like we've had
they said the security breach. That's the most interesting part to me. Is what does that mean?
Yeah, so I think that's probably ties in. So it's who went home last week? Does Amber M?
Is Amber M just walked back in?
Probably. The other thing it could be is mercenaries. I mean, it's entirely possible that it's a mercenary.
We just usually get reports on that, don't we? We don't get anything about that.
Not necessarily.
Dude, like they'd be advertising that this whole week if it was mercenaries. Yeah. You know what? We would have seen the mercenaries.
But here's the thing.
God. Can you imagine if Polly and Laurel show up or something? I would be out of my mind.
Well, see, here's what usually happens when they do mercenaries and they decide to promote it. It usually doesn't hit until Monday of next week when the Twitter push for the new trailer for the next episode.
Because like on Vendetta's on the first episode of the season, like the intro to the season, they showed the images of all 8 of them walking in. They showed every
and the reason they did that is because for the first time and only time, and it should never happen again, the mercenaries were able to win their way into the game.
That was on Vendetta's, not Final Reckoning. Reckoning, yeah, and then Final Reckoning. I'm pretty sure if you go back and watch it, at the very least, Hunter and Ashley are in the trailer. I mean, they end up winning, so you kind of have to have them somewhere in the trailer. But
because of the way that it was edited, that makes me think it was Amber M even more, right? Because if they show us,
they didn't show it.
Yeah, I know. They didn't show it because if they did show it to us and we saw there was Amber M, it's like, yeah, whatever.
Oh, well, whatever.
But then they just wasted an opportunity to leave us on the hook for a week. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, who's going to be? Like, there's a little bit of suspense. And the fact that it's Amber M doesn't even factor into the...
I think it's just somebody walking back in. Probably Amber M. My heart hopes for... I would actually really like Amber M, but my heart hopes for Teresa. But I think it's just somebody walking back in.
Honestly, I'd probably prefer Teresa too. You know what I mean?
Like I actually did really like what Amber M brought, but yeah, definitely I'd prefer Teresa.
Toxic T.
To bring Toxic T back.
Man, if she came back, so many females would be pissed.
But like they've done this. I mean, she came back on X's too when it was like the final. So I don't see why this is unprecedented.
Who's the best person that they could bring back?
Right now, Teresa.
Been eliminated or what? Like,
in general,
what do you mean?
You can pick any person.
I mean, I would really like Polly and Laurel to show up as a team. That would really make me.
It's going to be one woman.
Yeah, I mean, if in a perfect world we could pick anyone that could be cast reasonably. If Laurel walked into the crater, I would pop like Jiffy. Like I would go insane.
They need to do something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
well, they tried that before, and then people, like it sounds good in theory, but then people get mad.
When did they do it?
Well, like I mean, when Corey and Devin showed up, that's like the type of thing they're doing. Obviously, they're not the same level of character, but like that's I don't think I would want to do that again. Yeah, I know, but like they're still showing up 2/3 the way in.
See, and this isn't. That was also in the context of like it was like twist season. You know what I mean? Like left, right, like everything that happened was a twist. That's true. Like this season has been like straight down the road for the most part. And in the last couple,
the only time they've had to do like, like I mean, they kind of. And this is what I really prefer is where they just set up the format, and then the format's very complicated, but they don't add twists to it. So.
I agree.
So
there was a lot to it.
Is Amber M just going to come in and she's going to be Nom's partner, or?
Well, I think she comes in and then they kind of finagle some way where she works in with the elimination, and then I don't know, but I think.
So yeah, it'll probably be.
So they just have another guys Rogue Agent week again next week.
Maybe.
No,
which works out because that honestly actually really works out for them because they need to get more female skulls in the game anyways.
Yeah, so that means they would probably want to have a women's elimination next week, right?
Oh,
if they need to get more skulls in the game. They have to. because the women
they've had 4 women leave early this season.
I know, this is
a variety of reasons.
And they even had they've already brought one woman back.
Can they should just bring Ashley back again? Why not? Have her come back for?
She's probably still in Norway or Iceland when they were filming that. She was probably still just chilling.
3 lives.
Maybe they'll bring me back a third time.
They already gave her $1 million. What's 3 chances to win a challenge season?
Gosh. If she did come back and she somehow placed in the money, I mean, you just have to keep putting asterisks by Ashley's wins. I mean, like a win is a win, but there's got to be a point where you win starting from the fucking first episode, okay? Like at some point, you have to be there for every single episode.
From this point on, you just blind bet Ashley to finish in the money, I guess.
Yeah, but see, then the odds makers every season would just put her at like 2-1 because there's a chance they're going to bring her back.
Minus 400.
There's no reason to like bet on Ashley because everybody expects her to show up at the end somehow with some weird substitution.
So Devin, you really didn't like this episode?
No, like I thought the mission was hot garbage. I give this like a C. So this is my take on the mission. So and I wanted to talk about this next. So it's good that you transitioned to that. So I think that this mission is one of those missions that it's probably way more fun for you to compete in as a competitor on the show than it is for us to watch. You know what I mean? For us to watch, this is like
too long.
Yeah. Oh my God. Like how long in actual showtime do you think this was? It was like 15 minutes.
No, it was 30.
What?
It was legitimately 30 minutes.
How do they not just like show us Josh missing the rope, show us Devin missing the rope, show us CT and Big T killing it, show us, Leon and Casey, some other team who did well, and then have the other teams have them like go, and then it'll say like DQ or give them the time. Like you've got to find a more efficient way to do this.
All right. So this is the one flaw in the episode, and I will agree. 30 minutes was way too long, but there were so many funny subplots sprinkled in that I was cool with it for what they were doing. Watching Josh fuck up again. Goof. I love that CT just calls him the goof, by the way. That really
when they had the chyron that popped up that said the goof on it, that was pretty good.
It was really good.
I want to talk about this. So Josh's account of what happened, I thought was fucking hilarious because he said, this is what he said. So I think if you look at it, I think what happened with him and Devin is very fair. If you look at the rope, it looks like the wind kind of blows the rope away for them, to be fair to both of them, right? It wasn't like a lot of people, like Big T's was like, TJ must have told the helicopter pilot, like, I want this, like, it doesn't matter what happens to the other guy. I want that rope, like, at her face as it comes in. Like, the rope caught Big T, not the other way around. But if you listen to Josh's account of what happened, he said that he was trying to, I may have the quote, let me see. All right, I don't. It doesn't matter.
He said two different things, by the way.
No,
he lied in one of them.
He said that he didn't think that he could get the other rope, or he missed his other rope, and so he wanted to go for Nani's rope so he could get both of them onto the rope. He thinks he's James Bond and is going to be able to jump on the rope. Why is it in any way like your instinct to go for that rope at the same time? You know what I mean? Like that's the part that seems like completely irrational.
Because Josh is the goof. That's why.
You have to like sell out for that rope. But again, to be fair, I think for him and Devin, it was definitely like looked like it faded away.
It seems like it was It seemed like it was like on the mission on Rivals, where CT's climbing up to the rope, and then it hits the water, and then he's like it hits the water, the wind, whatever, and his is getting like all shaken around, and he falls off. That seems like kind of what happened.
But every other person that went, theirs never hit the water, but CT's was hitting the water.
Yeah, exactly. CT knew that can happen with the helicopter pilot, so he went up there and was like, if you don't give this right to Big T, I will punch you like Adam King and throw you out of this helicopter.
But here's the thing, though, about Josh's account that also doesn't jive. When he goes back to the group, he says he accidentally reached for Nani's rope instead of his. Okay, so there was lie number 2 somewhere in there, and then lie number,
He did reach for Nani's rope.
Right, but see, on the first account, he said, I missed the rope, so I tried to also reach for our rope so that both of us could hang on. Yeah. That was his confessional. So he had time to come up with a fake story. What he told the group at the mission was, I just reached for the wrong rope. He did not have those other details until his confessional.
He was like J.R. Smith. Like you guys remember the NBA Finals play, right? Where J.R. Smith grabs the rebound, dribbles the ball out instead of passing it to LeBron or shooting it back up for the layup. And clearly on the court, J.R. Smith mouths the words, I thought we were up. Like he didn't realize they were tied. Mm-hmm. Then afterwards, he has his post-game presser where he's like, oh, I wanted to, I don't know, just not what.
That is exactly what happened. That's exactly what cracks me up. But I also say that, yes, his rope did get blown away when he reached for it. So to me, instead of trying to come up with this cockamamie story, he should have just told the truth and said, yeah, my rope blew the other way, so I tried something stupid and it didn't work. Like, okay, great. It's still funny. You don't have to look even dumber.
Yeah, I am going to be very depressed if Big T and CT do have a split up here.
It's coming. I guarantee it. Like they are planting the seed.
We saw something in that mid-season trailer.
We don't have. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know what you're talking. We don't have to. I don't know if
we don't have to talk about for those the people that haven't watched.
They shouldn't show that at all.
It's ridiculous. They shouldn't show it, but they well, because like when they were in the beginning of the episode and he was talking to her about like he did like the whatever and he was like explaining the contraption to her and she was like, what? It cuts off my blood pressure? And then he says, oh, it helps your muscles grow. And there's just like this glow on her face, like it helps my muscles grow. Like she was so excited to do it. And then she smoke showed the mission when they got to it. Like that was.
My favorite part of that is, first of all, if you had told me before this started and they all went that Big T and CT were going to win,
you guys kept saying she's this like by far worst female competitor who's been to maybe not, maybe Big T.
Maybe she's not.
Think about. Yeah, maybe she's better than Zahida.
Or it could have just been. Go ahead.
Is she a good swimmer? Is that what this is?
Yes. Here was what happened. So after the mission, she and CT are on the boat, and CT's like, how did you do that? And she goes, well, I was all swim team in high school, but I'm out of practice.
Oh, she said that?
Yes. She's like, but I'm out of practice.
Oh, no, I missed that. Well,
yeah, and she's like, but I'm out of practice, so I didn't want to say anything.
She also
and then
said
I take pole dancing classes, and that's why she was able to hang on to the rope, because she's used to hanging on to just the pole for her pole dancing class. So it combines these two. It's just like this perfect storm of moron that combined that pole dancing classes and swimming happen to coincide in the same mission.
I mean, I think swimming's the most overrated skill on the challenge, but like
it comes into play at big times. Remember, like that pretty much won the duel for Wes. Remember the first time around? Because remember
the thing is with swimming, it's just very selective. Like it's like
when it happens, it pays off big.
I mean, it won the duel for him because it kept him out of the last
duel. People talk about swimming, like, my thing is with swimming, people talk about it in the same breath as, like, running, endurance.
Yeah, it shouldn't be as all. I agree.
No, it's like a very specialized skill set. Like, there are entire seasons where swimming does not come into play at all.
Yeah,
it doesn't even come up, and it's never in finals. People always talk about it like it's in finals.
No, it is in finals sometimes.
Since Invasion. It has not been in a final. War of the Worlds 2, it was kind of in a final, but the swimming was barely any part of it, and the people who finished the purge are the exact same order of the people who finished the puzzle. The swimming was barely a part of even that. And since Invasion, it has not come up at all. But yeah, I'm going to be very depressed if they do have a split. It does also seem like they gave us a lot of like Kyle and Cam wanting to stick together, and specifically Kyle wanting to keep Cam. So I thought that was.
That's why I think CT's going to pick Cam after he wins. His
it kind of remind me of like Cara Maria and Theo from War of the Worlds 1 with that pairing where each of them has friends on different sides of the house. So they just never get called in.
Mm-hmm. Is it an indication that there's just not much going on that we're seeing this much of Gabby and Amber B drama? Like it's 2 episodes in a row now. Think about how much.
It's been so much of Amber B.
Last week, I think it's understandable about why we saw much Amber B because it was a buildup to her getting thrown in. But this week, we didn't need it at all. Like, it didn't need to be
there. There was no relevance to it in the episode at all.
This episode, no. I think it's going to come into play again because of Darrell choosing the Big Brother side. There is going to be a piece of this that comes back up, I think.
If we got like a live feed on what Darrell's been up to this season, what do we think he's doing?
Darrell, and this is what I think, Darrell was trying to play the same game he always does, because CT called it in his confessional. He said Darrell likes to hide in the weeds, stay low under the radar, and then get into a final and whoop everybody.
Yeah,
and then when he gets to the final, he whoops everybody. That's his game.
Been on TV.
But this season, he's kind of done that, but now he's got to pick a side for the first time.
In a lot of his seasons, though, I feel like that's a pretty accurate description of his gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's never the best. He's never the worst during the missions. And then when it's time for the final, he smoke shows. That's what happens.
Yeah, he never really puts... I think now he's probably putting a little bit more into the missions, but usually he doesn't put much juice into the missions, especially
because you would say that he's definitely one of the best male competitors of all time, right? But if you just focused on the daily missions, and if you rank the best daily mission competitors of all time, he wouldn't be one of them.
I just don't think he tries even in them though. Like he's even
that could be possible. Yeah, that could be.
I think
I don't know,
but like it's a thing for him. And if you look at some of his stats and go back and look at it, like on Fresh Meat 1, like he turns it on towards it. Like late, he'll turn it on and win a few missions. But I just don't think he tries early on.
When he has to, that's the thing.
Yeah.
And then the one season where he was completely out of political favor, Fresh Meat 2, he's gone after the first episode because there was no way. Like even if he made it out of that first episode, he would not have been able to play his normal game in Fresh Meat 2 because he would have had to pick a side, Kenny or Wes, at some point. Well, my guess is he would not pick Wes after the fact that Wes made it his mission to get Darrell out. So,
I'm going to look this up right now.
I don't think he always plays the middle as much as he always plays quiet. Like he's not in the middle on the ruins. He picks a side pretty. Like I think he's just more so he'll pick a side if there's a side that's really dominant.
Yeah, and on the ruins, you're going to pick the Evan Kenny side. And he was kind of like, if you remember on the ruins, there was a moment where he said to Evan, hey, if I go in this elimination, will you keep me out of the last one? He's like, I'll go in and pull. Yeah, exactly. And so that was the thing. He went in, he pulled Danny around and whooped Danny. And then he went in again and he beat Kahutta. And he asked Evan, like, hey, if I go in this time, will you keep me out of the last one? And Evan was like, yeah, duh, that's great. Great deal. We're in. And
because
so,
they want him in the final. Like, there's no reason for them to not want to have Darrell in the final. Except to not have to give up a larger share of the money. All right, so I'm going to look for this right now. And I think we could probably come up with the answer before I look it up. Who do you think has the most daily mission wins of all time?
It's got to be Johnny. He's been on so many
seasons. It has to be, right?
It has to be Johnny. Yeah. I mean, 20-plus seasons.
What are you going to look it up on the wiki?
I just Googled it, and then I'm going to see what comes up first.
Okay. Because the wiki didn't keep track of it for a while.
Yeah, I would have put Johnny, and then I actually would have put Johnny. You're going to have a couple janky ones in there because of
it's not going to be as clear as you think because there's so much easier to win missions when it was teams versus individuals. Obviously,
like Katie probably has a good team mission record because she was on a lot of winning teams.
So it looks like someone has a Google Doc that's up to date through.
I think the wiki page does have it. I used to keep track of it. I just had to stop it. I couldn't have it all in the same database.
You think it's on?
Because Johnny wins at least 3 a year. Like every season, he's guaranteed to win 3. And then there was even like Vendettas and Final Reckoning. He was winning a lot.
He only wins 2 on Final Reckoning. I don't think he usually wins that many now. I think
that's still pretty good. A couple of seasons.
No, it's still good. I'm not saying it's not good, but I'm saying like.
I mean, if he averages 2 a season, that's 40.
No, I think he's probably got way more than that too. Because think about like on Bloodlines, for example, he's on the red team, which wins every single mission.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you look for it on the website?
The wiki? I don't think they'd have. I don't know if they have like somewhere. I'm just gonna look this up. I'm very confident he has the most.
Well, I know. So through a couple of years ago, when this spreadsheet that I'm looking at now was made, it's Johnny, and then CT.
I would have said CT next because he was on those Inferno seasons where there were 2 dailies. What would constitute a single episode now would be 2 dailies for that. So like those Infernos, he was winning hand over fist in the Infernos.
Rob, and this person actually segmented it out. So those wins are for individual and small team performance wins. So that's not even his total amount of wins. This person went the extra mile.
He has to have the most by a lot.
Yeah, because think about how many missions they won on the Gauntlet 3. like Gauntlet 3 alone, Johnny probably had 7 right there.
Oh my
God. Ruins, they won all but one.
So guess when you do just like team performance, guess who has the most? It's not Johnny. At least as of when this was written.
Team performance. I would have said
just
somebody
like large,
random.
You know what I mean? You're thinking along the right lines. If
I'm
you
thinking
think about
Katie
it, you might be able to get it.
Like Katie Doyle-ish range.
No.
Is it male or female?
It's got to be somebody. No, it's got to be a road ruler, and it's got to be somebody who's done like a lot of.
Think about who's done a lot.
Yeah.
And who played at that period of time? You know what I mean? Who played throughout that entire stretch?
Derek Kaczynski would have been. Derek Kaczynski.
I would think like Abram.
He came around a little bit later. It is Abram, because if you think about it, he was around.
He's on Road Rules. He's on the men's team in Texas too, and he's also on the Badass teams.
Like he's on Gauntlet 1 too.
Yeah,
that's the threesome.
He's pretty. There was only one. No, I guess there were two. There were 2 seasons before he started that could have conceivably been part of this list, right?
Sexes like Battle of the Seasons would have been one.
Seasons. Those are the only 2 that he wasn't on that he could have been. And then he was probably on.
So Gauntlet 1, he was on a couple of Infernos. He was on all 3 Infernos, wasn't he? Because he was on at least 2 of them.
Yeah, he was on Inferno 1 as well. So yeah, he was on all 3.
Yeah, so he was on all 3 Infernos. He was not on Gauntlet 2. So yeah, that's an interesting stat because he hadn't been around in a while. I mean, Bloodlines, his first appearance before Bloodlines was Cutthroat. No, Battle of the X's.
Yeah, Maria's second.
So no, you got to sort it. It took me a second to see that too.
Well, what did you sort it by?
Just total wins. So if you look at
I was sorting it by difference. Okay.
No, sort by total wins. So it's Abram. Number 2, if you think about it, guess who number 2 is and think about for women who fits that same criteria. If you think along the exact same lines, you'll
Veronica.
Yeah, it's Veronica.
Veronica.
Because she was on all the good Road Rules teams that won in the early days. And she was literally on all of those seasons.
She was on Badasses.
Yeah, because she was on... I'm honestly surprised that she doesn't have more than Abram. Because if you think about it, she was on the very first Battle of the Sexes. But she was on the women's team that, like, how many did they win? Yeah, she was gone quick, and they didn't even win very much.
She also leaves relatively early.
Yeah.
In a couple, yeah.
So, like, Gauntlet 1 was really her first appearance. She was also on Battle of the Seasons on the Road Rules team.
Yes,
but she's gone right away.
Yes, and Veronica.
Yeah, but she's gone right away.
They go home like first episode though, don't they? Because they were the fourth place team.
I think they're actually the first team to go home.
Yeah, they were the 4th place team, and the Road Rules inner circle voted them out, and it caused the whole brouhaha of it's not fair and whatever.
All right, so let's look at this. So now that I have this sorted again, so for small team / individual performance, it's pretty much exactly what you would guess. It goes
Johnny, Cara.
I should frame all of this. This was done a couple years ago, so this is bad data, or not great data, I would say. So it's Johnny, Wes, CT, Zach, Evan, Cara Maria, Paula, Sarah Rice.
I'm curious what they even qualify as a win, because like in War of the Worlds 1, for example, 3 separate pairs win. Vendettas, you have 3 people win. Like
to me, that's a win.
Get a win.
If you win if you are in the winners circle, I'll say if you are part of the troika, you're considered a winner for the day.
Yeah.
All right. What else do we want to talk about this?
Well, I think what do we think about like the Devin? A lot of things were interesting to me about like the Devin Josh contrast. For one, why are they the only 2 on the table? Like, why don't we just not even put a gold skull in?
Well, both of them. What do you mean? Both of them do have skulls.
Well, I know. Why don't we just put Nam or Corey in? Or Corey can't go in. Why don't we just put Nam or Darrell?
They have not explained if 2 people without skulls go in, does the winner get to steal a skull?
Yeah, exactly. And so if we put Nam in against CT, maybe he doesn't even get a skull when he wins.
I think what it is, from what we've seen, based on the evidence of this over the last season and a half or season and 3/4, the person who is in charge of who can throw whoever into elimination, they have an inordinate amount of power, right? They're pretty much calling the shot when it comes to the House vote by and large.
Well, you didn't though.
Yeah, I'm speaking in general, right? Like in general, I think that's kind of what we've seen. And I guess why would they go with Devin as opposed to, let's think about their other options. It would be Kyle, but
Nom or Darrell are the two other options for non-skulls.
But Darrell is on that side of the vote with the Big Brother people.
Well, doesn't he want to go and he needs a skull?
But he doesn't have power.
He want to go against CT.
Why? Is CT for going to put himself in at that point?
Yes, because here's the thing. Leroy, if you watch some of these YouTube after shows that they've been doing, Leroy specifically said they went to CT and said, we're going to freeze you out. We are not ever going to put you into the vote. We will never allow you the opportunity.
Doesn't make sense then. I think then they should put in Nom, or they should put in Darrell.
But see, that's where I think we're missing information. Maybe the cast knows that they can just steal any skull they want, and so or maybe they don't know that, and so they're not going to risk. They're not going to risk CT winning and then stealing Fessy's skull, because now Fessy has to go back in, and they've got to manipulate the vote and do all that. It's easier for them to get rid of Devin because he's one of CT's numbers. Nobody likes Devin really, except for a small handful of people. And even if they throw Kyle in, Cam's connected to Kyle right now. And what if they swerve them and it's in a female elimination day? Then Cam has to go back in. Like, these people, all they do is sit there and think through these scenarios when they're on set filming. So we're just not privy to all of the information that they have.
Look, there's plenty of times for the producers to tell them something and we're not aware of what it is.
I don't think that they could have done Darrell because it was a straight split down the middle, right? They said that it was a straight split.
Well, Nom and Leroy actually voted for Lolo and Nom. They didn't vote for Devin.
Yeah, but it was 7-7. Okay, so if we tallied up all the people in the house, would they have had it? So would they have had enough numbers to do that vote? Regardless, I don't think that's a point. I think the point that you made that they could have done Nom does make sense, though. I think that would
definitely have done Nom.
I don't get why they didn't do that, because that's also a tougher get for CT, right?
Yeah, like it's a tougher opponent, and if we don't, then you don't know what happens with his skull.
Yeah.
Unless they do know what happens with the skull, and they chose not to do that deliberately, but we as the viewer, they have left it very ambiguous.
I think if that could be the case, but if that is the case, we'll know by next week because somebody will have leaked that.
So the argument against, and I know you're going to disagree with it, but the argument, I don't get it. So it wouldn't even make sense.
What also didn't make sense to me is Devin gives his speech when they're at the deliberation about, and everybody praises him for, even the people who don't like Devin or against Devin are like, it's a good speech. When he says, if you give me to CT, I'm a layup for CT, he'll beat me easily, and you would rather go against me in a final CT. Josh fits that exact same description, but to a much higher degree. There's nothing that Devin's talking about that doesn't also fit Josh.
But Josh doesn't think that.
Fit Nom. that is a really big contrast to me. That's also something I wanted to point out. Devin has enough self-assurance and self-confidence where he can actually put himself down to advance his game and try to do that. Josh doesn't have that. He doesn't have that level of self-assurance.
The line of the episode was when Devin said that he's the IT guy and that him and Anissa are in the van.
They're in the van.
They're not field agents.
That was pretty good.
He's very self-aware. Rob nailed it. And you know what? In a different season with a different cast, that speech really could have swayed some votes. But there was a very distinct line.
I just think Josh fits that exact same description. There's nothing he's talking about that doesn't also fit Josh.
I agree with you.
If we put Devin versus Josh in the final, I'm betting on Devin.
I'm betting on Devin too.
I don't get why.
But Josh thinks he's really good. That's the problem. Josh legitimately believes he's good.
I don't really get why they don't put Nom in. I think that those are the two that it comes down to. It comes down to Nom because Leroy's not going in.
The only thing with Nom is apparently they don't want they want to keep Nom and Lolo together because they hate each other so much. That's been somewhat of a narrative. But I think eventually you have to I just would have done that. I don't.
Well, there was
I don't
this
see what
weird. There was a weird.
I think what they gained by getting rid of Devin. The thing is too, so getting rid of Devin is getting rid of one of CT's quote unquote numbers, but you already have the numbers to put Devin in, so you don't need any CT to have any less numbers. You already have the numbers on CT.
Yeah, I don't get why they didn't put in Nom. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Well, one of the side comments is Lolo was like, these are the people we're working with, and the people I'm working with aren't helping me get in. So, like, I'm wondering
who are the people she's working with?
Exactly. We don't know. So, for all we know, Nom was working with Nani.
She said she was in the Big Brother alliance the whole time. She said that.
Yeah, but like Nom is like friends with like Devin and Jay.
In CT and Kyle and those
guys.
Yeah,
not that group.
Yeah, he's definitely on the opposite alliance.
It's funny how Cam and Kyle are in a similar position to them, and then they have friends at different sides of the house, and Cam and Kyle are able to like work that relationship perfectly. And for Lolo and Nom, it's just not happening.
It really helps them out a lot. Kyle and Cam, that is. They're a really good team.
They're really good.
That's benefited them quite a bit. They're a really good combination.
Yeah, again, they remind me just a lot of like Carmery and Theo from More of the World's One. Just having like there are two people on two sides of the house, and there are two people on the top of two sides of the house.
Mm-hmm. Well, Kyle knows that without Cam, he's pretty much screwed in the game. So I think it's probably easier for him to compromise with Cam because, I mean, if I'm Kyle, I just want to keep Cam happy so she doesn't try to leave me or manipulate something so that I get stuck.
I think the only way she's getting taken, if anything. I mean, she could definitely get taken, but I don't see her wanting to go back in. But
and that's why I really think CT's going to steal her. And that's what this episode, there were so many little threads they opened up. And there were certain comments in the confessionals. Like one of the things they were talking about when Kyle and Cam were going during the daily mission, they specifically pointed out that Kyle and Cam are a good team, but it's mostly because of Cam. And so people in their confessionals were like not high on Kyle. And if those confessionals were filmed after, which we're assuming they were, this elimination and everything, that switch might have already happened. And so they're providing context to events that we didn't know are about to pay off. Now, I could be wrong. I am taking a guess based on what they have been editing this season and what I've been seeing build, and now seeing some of this stuff pay off. I'm convinced that's where it's headed.
I did really like Corey pulling out the notebook and like matching up with it. He pretty much got it right. He's like taking a page out of Laurel's. Corey's really gotten reality TV savvy now. He knows what's up. He's also the one who pointed out, like, went right to the board and pointed at Nam, was like, hey, they're going to do something about this where Nam doesn't have a partner. We're short the numbers on females again. He's very aware now. He knows what's going on.
Yeah. How many seasons has he been on?
How many reality TV appearances does he have?
Because, I mean, he's on Teen Mom. He's been on X on the Beach. He's been
he's putting up, like, Wester and Nisa numbers at this point.
Yeah. Because, I mean, I'm still shocked that they had that show X on the Peak with Laurel, and I didn't know Laurel was on it till like it was almost done.
Yeah, I would have definitely.
She was on like 2 episodes.
I would have watched those 2 episodes to watch her and Nicole go
just her and
into
Nicole.
A hot mess.
It was not. I need Laurel in competition for like Laurel Entertainment.
I think that's what's so good about her is like even like outside of competition, I think she's like.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. The intensity, but her intensity usually is bred from competition. Like her being a maniac on World of the Worlds 2 is from the competition aspect.
Did we do? We didn't do a top. We didn't do a top moment, did we? We did a top.
No, we still haven't done that. It's been in our queue to do a top 6 moments.
That's really difficult.
It'd be so much fun because we would be all over the map with that.
So just to put it broad, just to get us all to agree, that has to be in the top 10, right?
Oh, no question.
Laurel suck it with the...
Yeah, the Stone Cold Steve Austin. Oh. Like, come on.
It's like, so good.
That is legit. I don't see how you can say this episode is better than that one, Trace. That's an ungodly take.
I like long-term storytelling paying off.
Dude, I
am a huge fan.
That episode, it works obviously in the vein of the season because the season at that point was kind of building up to that, and it does. Yeah, I think it fishers out a lot after that.
And
but it's also even contained in that episode. If you can explain a few things to other people watching it, you can get people like that. That works as its own thing.
Okay, all right. I will give you that. That's a fair point. So I would then say the other thing with World of the Worlds 2, I have not rewatched it. I watched it live.
I've watched that episode a few. That episode is
I've never rewatched it. I have gone and rewatched that elimination on YouTube, and so like
I already watched that elimination like once every like week and a half. Or something.
So if we
way too often.
People always bring up, and I think we've talked about it before. Like if you have, if you want to get someone to start watching the show, what season do you show them?
I think that's the episode. War of the Worlds 1 is the season.
Okay. That was my question. Is what episode do you show them first? Is that the episode?
That one, episode 2 of War of the Worlds 1, I could do a little bit too, but I think you need more of like the Hunter Ashley background for that episode to really hit. That episode, the only issue is like
you don't need to know much.
You really don't need like any Laurel Cara backstory. I think a little bit of backstory on why Johnny and Laurel are throwing the mission is kind of important, because
if you know the Johnny West background and the Laurel West background, that whole episode makes a hell of a lot more sense to it.
Well, West isn't even in the episode though. I think you need more about the Cara Maria stuff.
Right, but she was one of the people that helped orchestrate that West ouster in the previous episode.
And that's easy to understand.
Yeah, oh my gosh, the suck it with the then just like
it's one of the top 10 moments in the history of the show,
easily,
without question. It might even be in the top 3. Like it's so freaking good.
I was gonna say top 5, but then we would like start like dancing around with it and like start thinking of things. I just wanted to say a number that everyone was like, yeah, definitely.
Well, you had it number 1 on your eliminations, right?
Oh yeah, dude, I'd love that elimination. Like, there's like you're just like swinging emotions back and forth. You know what I mean? Because like you come out there to start, and like if you're the producers,
even just like the contrast between the crowd.
Yeah, you could not have picked an elimination like that Ninja would be more likely to win. Like, could you have come up with anything better?
Oh no, I wouldn't agree with that. You could have
a climbing mission. Like, this is what she does.
Well, I would say you're right. I think it's really great for the elimination for them to pick for the two of them, because it shows like what's more important here, climbing ability or height. Because height's really important with that too, just the ability to put the branches up. And because like if you look at when they're doing an Ninja Warrior, they're not just climbing straight up; they're climbing and they're running an obstacle course. Like it is, don't get me wrong, it's an A- setup for Ninja. It's a very good setup for Ninja, but
it is the best. I think it's a great setup for both of them, for her to win an elimination.
Like, well, see, yes. I think that's the best setup for the two of them. I think it's the most entertaining setup you could have gotten.
I don't know. I think Laurel's kind of athletic enough that she's going to be competitive in pretty much whatever you throw at her, right?
As long as it's an athletic thing, yeah.
And she's pretty good at puzzles too, isn't she? From what I remember,
decent.
She hasn't been bad. She beat
She
Teresa
did win the puzzle on Free Agents. She won the puzzle against Teresa on Free Agents.
Man, she's got to come back. Like she's my favorite person to have on the show. Like, and I don't know if it's close, to be honest. Like, she's just fire every time she's on.
She might not win, but man, does she leave an impression. It's pretty awesome.
Rob?
Oh no,
Rob.
Big fat fail, Rob.
There he is. What'd you do, dude? Rob. We're back. Shocker. We had some technical difficulties. We're here to finish off the episode. So we were talking about Laurel. I think we're done with that. Let's talk about what else do we want to talk about this episode?
I think after the Devin Josh stuff, that's pretty much it from my end. I mean, we didn't see what happened with the elimination. What do we think about CT even going into this elimination, though? Like, this doesn't seem really suited to his strengths.
I think Devin nailed it. This is his one shot to go in. He might not get another one, so he has to shoot the shot.
For CT, yeah.
Like, I think he still wins, but I don't think this is a great setup for him.
I think the fact that let's assume that it's not mercenary and it's just Amber coming back. That would be my guess, is what this infiltration is Amber's coming back or Toxic T is coming back. My hunch is it's Amber, because she's probably still in country. And Teresa needed to get home to her kids. I'm sure at that point she was ready to go home. So I think that they made the comment that it was the same elimination Cam did, but higher and further apart. Devin being much shorter than CT is going to work very badly against him if it is indeed.
CT.
CT's like 2 inches taller than him.
I think it's I think it's like an inch. Yeah, because CT's 6'2", and I think Devin's 6'1". From what I remember, we have both of these in our spreadsheet too.
Yeah. Either way, I still think that CT's the better athlete, and he's going to know how to control his body in that a lot more than Devin. Even if CT struggles in the beginning, he's eventually going to find the rhythm. Whereas Devin, he's in decent shape, but he doesn't strike me as an athlete who's used to controlling his body movements in a physical manner like that. So I would tend to put my money on CT doing much better in this.
It's crazy that next week we'll lose a guy, and that will be episode 12. The last time that we had a guy go home was episode 8. Because we've lost 3 women in a row, Teresa, Amber, and Lolo in 9, 10, 11.
And Nam might not be far behind him, because in the episode they mentioned multiple times that he hurt his back, and like when he came out of the water during the daily, I mean, there's a chance he could get medically DQ'd or have to quit. I mean, it's entirely possible.
For whatever reason, they just don't usually put that out as a red herring. Usually if somebody has an injury come up, it factors in. Usually it's going home, but it usually factors in at least to some degree at some point.
And then at that point, I don't know. All right, let's do our power rankings real quick. Let's start to wrap this up.
All right.
Here, I need to pull up the spreadsheet. And
I don't think this is going to change much on my end. I think that I'll go first.
I don't think we've really learned anything major this week.
No, I still think Darrell, CT, and Fessy are actually, you know what? I would say Darrell, CT, Leroy right now. I think Leroy is in a much better place than Fessy is at the moment. I think Leroy, Darrell, CT, and Leroy. And then on the female side, whatever I said last week would just ride, because it's going to be Casey 1, whoever I had 2, and whoever I had 3.
You said Darrell,
CT, Leroy this week.
And then for the women, who are you going to have?
Casey, and then I can't remember who the other 2 were, but I would
Lolo and Cam.
All right, well, Lolo's got to go. So Casey, Cam, and I'll put my girl Nani back in there. Why not? She doesn't seem like she's in any danger of going home. So if she gets her shot at a skull, she's going to get one. So she's probably going to make the final.
Just a what?
She has to leave Josh, right, if she wins?
No.
No?
No.
Why?
No.
They're writing this out.
Oh, God. That's not
They're
Nani at number 3 then.
That kind of was I thought it was funny, the segment that they had on the relationship between the two of them. Yeah, between Nani and Josh. And
that happened? Poor Josh has that happen like every season now. He had that with Amanda on World of the Worlds 1. He had the thing with Georgia on World of the Worlds 2.
I forgot about that.
I did too.
The Georgia Josh thing.
That
was such a long time ago.
Who was it on Total Madness?
Did he didn't really have anything going on last season.
That's when he and Nani started becoming real friends, I guess.
They just didn't like each other.
All right, who's your overall?
Darrell, CT, Casey.
Darrell, CT.
I feel even better about the Darrell pick now that he's thrown his hat in on the Big Brother Alliance officially now. The fact that he picked a side, I think that is going to help him way more making the final. And if he makes the final, it's hard for me to root against him.
All right, Rob.
I'm pretty good with my little group I've had. I go CT, Darrell, Leroy, then Cam, Amber B, Casey. I still really don't like. I just have a weird vibe on Casey. And then Cam, CT, Darrell for the overall.
Okay. Mine. I almost want to put CT ahead of Darrell now.
I made that move.
I'm gonna do
what I was talking about before, I think CT makes the move to take Cam and put himself in the best position to make a final. I don't know if Darrell leaves Amber B to get himself a better partner for a final.
No, because he's
not
directly connected. She's a good partner.
Wait, what?
Why isn't like? But there's a clear chance for him to upgrade at that point if he takes.
I know,
No. You don't want to upgrade. You want to be in the Big Brother Alliance to guarantee you make the final.
Well, Casey's in the Big Brother Alliance, and like, no, dude, you need to put yourself in the best position possible to win the final. I don't think you can take shortcuts.
I wouldn't be opposed to him trading off, but I'm just saying that if your logic holds true, that it doesn't seem likely that he would change partners. There's worse people to be partners with than Amber
What
B.
have we even gotten the notion that Amber B's that good?
They won that elimination, right?
The elimination against Amber M, really, and
that was a gimme.
Very representative.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know. She seems less than terrible. She seems better than I thought she was at the start of the season.
I don't think she's done a lot to like she could show up and just be. She could show up and be disaster in puzzles.
She did.
Not really of dating endurance. She could just be bad.
She did good today.
She did
in that elimination where a lot of the women.
She's had a lot of camera visibility too for this to be her first season. Like people like her don't usually.
How have we not talked about Anissa in the challenge?
That was pretty. I mean, I expected her to do that though.
Where she falls off because we had Josh and Devin who completely missed it. She at least got on the rope.
She just couldn't.
Yeah, she couldn't hold.
She was on the rope for a second and a half, but I don't know. I feel like that's low hanging fruit, to be honest. Like I didn't expect her to do well.
Devin, if they ran it right now with CT and Cam versus Darrell and Amber B, who do you pick?
Probably CT and Cam, but narrowly.
I picked them like 65-35, but I think if Darrell puts himself with Casey, then what's the odds?
I would say, so you said 65-35. I would probably go like 58-42, maybe a little lower. But
if Darrell has Cam or Casey and CT has either Cam or I don't know, just not like CT has a lesser partner than him, or even an equivalent partner.
All right, so we'll pick it out. So if Darrell has who?
Like, let's say if Darrell just takes Casey. So Darrell has Casey and CT has Cam.
Oh, I'd put Darrell Casey. Like that might be the best. That might be the best.
Well, what's
like
the odds?
grouping you could put together for those two? I'd maybe like just between those two.
Head-to-head, not even knowing who else is there.
I might go somewhere between like 60 to 65% that they win. Like I think
that's a huge swing in the odds. Then that's a 20%.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm agreeing that like him
like
going
if you're in order to win anything, that's the mentality you have to have. You have to put yourself in the best position. I don't think he does that. That's why
because I think that satisfies kind of what Trace was trying to get across too, that he still maintains a relationship with the Big Brother Alliance. And at that point, Casey would be incentivized to want to like keep Darrell as a partner too, because that's what's best for her. No, I think that's probably the best pair that you can make out of all the people left, right? Not having everyone in front of you.
Versus Casey, I think is close.
Who?
I think Cam versus Casey's close in terms of who I'd prefer in the final.
It's close, and there's a few X factors to consider there. Okay, so let's say, for instance, it's CT and Cam versus way it stands right now with Darrell and Amber B. I give the edge to CT and Cam just because both of them are good at puzzles and they're both in decent shape. Darrell is by far in the best shape of the four, but he doesn't do puzzles at all. Like just flat out. And we don't know what Amber B can do. So if you have a team of two people who are decent at puzzles and then a team of Darrell who doesn't do them, and then another competitor, that competitor either has to be really good at them or just average enough that their physical performance can overcome whatever hurdle a puzzle brings them.
CT and Cam to do like the parts of the non-running parts of the final better. Like I think this one got those things much better than Darrell and Amber B do.
This one is in the bag for Casey or Cam. You know what I mean? They're going to win this. Like, what kind of odds would I have to give you here to take the field?
Outside of the two of them?
Yeah, dude. Like, look at this. It's those two versus Amber B, Anissa, Gabby, Nani, Big T. It's going to be one of those two.
If Amber B's able to stick with Darrell, I think she's got a shot. Like,
yeah, I would
take Amber B, Darrell over. Well, Casey Leroy's tough too.
You know, I think you'd have to give me 6-1.
Like,
Because, I mean, it's hard to bet against Casey and Cam with the crop of people that are left. Like, it's really difficult.
It makes it even more crazy that Lolo left. You know what I mean? Like,
if she'd have stuck this out,
she's in a good spot. She was she honestly was like not in a bad spot. Like, she's probably going to get against, because Casey and Cam both already have skulls. She's going to get like someone like
yet.
Yeah, that's what I mean. She's going to get a good shot to get a skull against someone that's not that great. And then
probably going to be Gabby is who it would have been. It probably would have been Gabby. And she's not our big team.
Like, what are you doing? Like, she just really didn't care if she was on the show.
I think, that's why I'm saying the challenge mentally broke her, and she wasn't thinking. Like, it really was. Like, she was so mentally wound up, and just watching her on the previous season, she's not crazy, but she's just a little high strung, like really high strung.
For it, man. Like, I just like, you just have to. I don't even think it's the high strung thing, because you've seen people who are like you would consider a high strung show up on the show and be fine.
This is like how ridiculous I think this is. So I'm going to put Amber B third too for the women, and like, I don't even think Amber, like, we don't know anything about her. You know what I mean? That's how good the rest of the cast is.
I have her too is because she gets a crazy amount of screen time and is Darrell's partner.
So I'm going to go Casey, Cam, and I guess Amber B. You know what I mean? Because that's where we're at. Like,
unless you want to put Gabby in there.
Yeah, I wouldn't feel phenomenal about that. Like, or Big T, like.
Big
like
T.
those Big T futures that we were talking about a few weeks ago are looking great.
Maybe the Big T to make the final is getting more than more likely with the attrition rate right now.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Big CT sticks it out, and they're the heartwarming story that wins the challenge double agents.
Yeah, we're like one COVID outbreak in the house away from that happening right now. Like, it's not.
The good news is we know that's not happening, because the producers already announced they got through the whole season without a single positive case from the whole crew. I don't know. Iceland had like next to negative cases, so if they got to Iceland and they stayed clean after they were through with quarantine, the chance would be so remote. It's ridiculous.
So now that CT is pretty much going to get a skull, I'm operating under the assumption at this point that he's getting a skull for my overall rankings. I'm going to...
I've never been worried about who has the skull or who doesn't.
No, I still think there's going to be some janky twist, because they love janky twists, and they haven't really done a real twist yet. It's coming.
Security breach that, for all we know, is going to throw 10,000.
We didn't know who CT was going to go against in an elimination, though. You know what I mean? And it was getting down to the point where he could have had a tough matchup in an elimination. Like, he could have gotten Darrell or something like that, or he could have gone against, I don't know who's left. That was my only apprehension. And if it was, like, even though I didn't think it was going to be the case that they had to go against someone that had a skull to get a skull, like, there was that possibility. So I'm going to go Casey. I mean, it's pretty much a lock that it's Casey and Cam, isn't it? So I'm going to go Casey, Cam, and Fessy, I guess. Like, it's going to be Casey or Cam that win for the women.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't see any other.
If Amber B gets to the final, has Darrell as a partner, I think they have a shot.
They do have a shot, and that's also assuming they stay partners. You know, like, this could all go out the window if it's not partners.
Cam versus Amber B, Darrell, that it was 60-40 for CT Cam. So there's a shot for Amber B to win if she's got Darrell.
And you could say the same thing about Nani. I mean, I know that I put her in my power ranking, so I'm not just cheerleading someone I've picked. But, like, there is so much that could happen here. Like, I'm still not convinced these teams are running the finals together. Like, I'm not. Like, until they get there and actually execute it, I will be surprised.
I think that Nani's a pretty decent tier below even Amber B.
I just asked Pat what his hot take on this episode is. Have you talked to him about it yet? Yeah.
Is it in our text thread?
You have to
I just sent it out.
And he has a two-year-old kid that he's putting to bed, probably.
Doesn't matter.
Yes, it does matter.
It's his phone's on. What do you mean? He's not going to read it?
No. We'll see.
I don't read my text at night, and my phone buzzes all night long, so it doesn't matter. He'll get it when he gets it.
You don't have it on. You don't have your phone on like that sleep mode where
it's on D&D after midnight. But if you are in my favorites, like our challenge group is in my favorites, so it comes.
Still shows up.
Yeah. So anyway, so we've done power rankings. Do we want to cover some other hot news in the challenge world before we sign off?
Yeah, we can talk about the OG season. So,
which is now called the Challenge All-Stars.
Dude.
Throwback.
And as we predicted or speculated, it is going to be a Paramount Plus exclusive.
So it is an exclusive.
Yes, yeah. It is airing 100%. And then the other hot news that came out of the press release is Road Rules is coming back to Paramount Plus as an exclusive. I am beyond. That also gives me hope. If they are restarting Road Rules, we're getting all the Road Rules seasons on Paramount Plus at some point.
They're starting up the show again?
Yes, a brand new version of Road Rules. What they're going to do is they're going to drop them somewhere remote in the RV, and they have to kind of work their way through challenges. And if they make it to the end, then they win money. But it's apparently supposed to be progressively harder than what Road Rules used to be.
Would you be more or less interested in it if it was entirely new people, or if it was people that were just on the challenge?
I want all new people, because now we're getting a feeder system back for the challenge that is within the challenge family of shows.
I don't think that's going to be a very popular feeder system with how they build out the show now.
It depends, though.
I think maybe we get a person or two, but I think they just prefer getting these people from bigger CBS shows.
Because it brings in their network. It builds the audience. You know what I mean? That's what they love. That's why they love doing it.
Bring on Natalie.
But see, here's the thing.
Other people. They have such a more of a following.
Why can't they build it like Survivor does, where, okay, let's say half the cast is new cast members and the other half are from other Paramount family shows?
That would make sense to me.
Like, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I'm good with it either way. I'm just happy Road Rules is coming back, even if the format is somewhat different. I'm just excited, which also tells me that with the Real World Reunion coming to Paramount Plus, once we come kind of out of this COVID pandemic, I wouldn't be shocked to see a press release about the Real World coming back as a Paramount exclusive either.
So do we know when? Did it give any indication of when this will air?
No, but my assumption is they gave a premiere date for the Real World Reunion. So that is going to be like a 6-episode thing that they release weekly. So my guess is they will show all 6 of those, and then they will cycle to the Challenge All-Stars at that point. I do
think we have a decent amount of time, just because it's hard for me to see them airing it over the top of this. They did that before with Champs versus on Vendettas, but that was such a chaotic time on the show. I don't think they want
it seems like this is going to happen like as Double Agents is ending, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
I would think that it happens after Double Agents concludes.
That's what I mean.
I don't like it when they do it over the top like that. And you're going to have like Delone and Issa on both seasons. Like that.
But here's the thing. We were talking last time, and so I missed last week, so that sucked. I hated I missed last week. But 2 weeks ago when we talked, we started speculating. We don't know what the numbers for CBS All Access is for the challenge. I think the numbers are a lot higher for streaming the old challenge seasons than we realize. If you look, Johnny Bananas posted a photo of the Paramount gates in California. The challenge in his picture is near front and center of the Paramount gates as part of the Paramount Network promotion. They are using the challenge as the representative for like SpongeBob is the Nickelodeon picture. Johnny Bananas and the challenge is the MTV picture. So CBS views the challenge as the flagship show for MTV. No matter how MTV treats it, Paramount and CBS see it as the most important property for MTV.
Yeah, it's just a more dedicated audience, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's also not as the way the challenge has evolved now too. It's not as niche as it used to be. Like Teen Mom has a very narrow viewership. You know what I mean? Like there is only a certain segment of an audience that's going to watch Teen Mom. I'm not going to watch Teen Mom. I mean, I'm in my 30s. It's just not my thing. The like ghosted these things and like
the catfish.
That stuff appeals to high school, college. Like it's not appealing, but the challenge, now that you've got people from Survivor, Big Brother, the challenge veterans, you've got international. Like that is a property that is marketable across multiple demographics at this point.
There was, when I was in college, so this was when I was like, I think I had just graduated. I was like 22 or 23. And my roommate at the time was seeing this girl who had a kid when she was like in her teens, and the kid was like a little bit older. And there was one night when his girlfriend came over and was hanging out, and her friend came over. I ended up hooking up with her. And then the next morning we were hanging out and they were watching Teen Mom. And the girl that I had hooked up with also had a kid when she was like either in her teens or like early 20s. And I was like, this has to be like, well, one, it's like, okay, so this is who's watching Teen Mom, right? Two, like, this has to be like so weird for them watching this. You know what I mean? Because it's exactly like what they went through. Like, how many, like, what percentage of people do you think have parents that had them when they were in their teens? I have no idea.
I think.
Like, what do you think?
I don't know. That's a number
is?
that I don't even want to speculate on. I don't even want to venture a guess because I don't want to offend somebody on that
over
one.
Or under? I don't think that would offend anyone. Do you think it's? And I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying it's like, it would be a more difficult time to have a child than if you were like a little bit older. So do you think that number is
I think you look at the teen pregnancy rate in a high school, but that's going to vary over the country. It's going to vary by state. It's going to vary by a lot. So, I mean, I would say the national 10%. I would say under 10%.
Yeah, I think that's probably right.
It's probably hovering near that number, though, because if you think about like a high school that has 1,000 students, 10% is 100, and that ain't happening. But in a certain demographic area, like especially in the rural South, out in the sticks, man, the teen pregnancy rate's way higher because they don't do sex ed. They don't pass out condoms in the schools. They don't do things to help teenagers that are going to go ahead and have sex protect it well. You know what I mean? So depending on where you are, that rate would be higher or lower. So the national average is not going to be representative of a large portion of high schools around the country.
I really want to figure this out now.
Well, while you figure that out,
close this out, and we're gonna have like an hour and 40-minute episode.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. So the other thing that we could talk about coming out of the announcement is Johnny Bananas has a new show premiering on NBC that was announced today.
Oh, nice.
How many announcements do we have come out?
So like Johnny Bananas is now the brand new host of Celebrity Sleepover. And apparently it is a show where he is being filmed like in his pajamas in a set bedroom. And he is like doing one-on-one interviews with a celebrity over the span of a few minutes. I don't know how long the episodes are, but it's supposed to air on NBC. So, cool. I mean,
so is it like LeBron show where they're in the shop where they're in the barber shop?
Kind of, yeah. I think it's something like that. For now, for the pandemic,
Johnny doing it. Like LeBron gets the barbershop, Kevin Hart gets like the ice bath, and LeBron's in what? He's in Johnny's in like a sleeping bag.
Well, no, he was wearing like a robe and he had like a sleep mask on his forehead on the picture I saw. Like, but that tells you a lot that Johnny is in demand for hosting these types of shows. To me, it was a clue that we might not see him on the challenge again. And if we do see him on the challenge again, I wouldn't be shocked if he's one of those people that goes on for a visibility spike and to help promote the challenge. But then like he finds a way to go home by like the 4th episode. That way he can get back to these other commitments, because these other commitments are a more long-term play for him to financially. Like he can't do the challenge forever. At some point,
I get disappointed of Total Manic's last season. Even though he won, I don't think it was like a great character performance.
And I don't know that he might even care, but we'll see. I don't know.
Probably doesn't, but.
I have the answer. It's 4. So in 2018, they have it for a bunch of different years, but in 2018, under 20, which would technically be all teens, 4.79%. So pretty much like 5%. Sounds about right.
And in some areas, that number would be higher, but the national average would be that. Because if you were to go to the high school down the road from me, it's like 2,000 kids. There's no way that there's that many teen moms having babies at the high school down the street.
Over 50 is 0.03%, which I feel like is still higher than I would have guessed.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, I can buy that.
what is that? 3 tenths?
No, I didn't say that's the number that get pregnant and, terminate them. I'm saying that's the number that actually have the baby and move forward.
Correct. Well, that's cool about Johnny's show. I didn't know that. So was that in the press release too, or did that happen recently?
No, it was a completely separate thing. It was on his Instagram.
And they dropped these all today just because they announced the Paramount Plus package?
I bet you Johnny did do that for a reason, because he posted on his Instagram the picture of the Paramount gates, the whole thing. So I kind of just pulled those 2 bits off his Instagram, but he specifically called out NBC, tagged them in it. He tagged his first celebrity. The first celebrity he tagged was Tiffany Amber Thiessen. So there's a possibility that the celebrity sleepover could be for the Peacock network, because Tiffany Amber Thiessen starring in the Saved by the Bell reboot. So this might not be that big of a deal, but it's enough of a deal that he's getting steady work outside of the challenge in Hollywood now.
Who's on the Saved by the Bell reboot?
Everybody but Screech, who RIP, he's dead, and Lisa Turtle, because there's issues there. But the 4 main, like Slater, Jesse, Kelly, and Zach, are all on it.
That can't be something you watch, right?
Yes, it is.
I don't know. It depends on kind of what tone is it going to have? You know what I mean?
It's campy. Like, they're totally making fun of the original show. Like, just tongue in cheek the whole way through. Like, Zach Morris is the governor of California. Okay, like.
Is he like Arnold, or what is he like?
He's incompetent. Like, he's literally incompetent. Like, the first episode is
he being photographed?
Man, he looks pretty old now. Holy cow! Have you guys seen this photo? Whoa!
Yeah.
Here, I'm gonna throw this in the chat.
He is like actually sneaky good as an actor. He did the show on Fox a couple years ago that I wish had been picked up for a second season. It was called Pitch. It was about the first female big league pitcher, and he was like the aging veteran catcher. It was a great show, but the ratings just did not pull through on it.
I heard about that. I never actually saw an episode, but I heard it was really good.
It was. Like, it legitimately was a solid show, and if it's streaming somewhere, I tell everybody to watch it because it is really good.
It was on Fox?
It was on Fox. It was called Pitch.
So is that the way he looked? Is that what he looked?
I did not plan to.
No, he looked like a normal person. On the Saved by the Bell reboot, he's got the awful wig for his hair and all that stuff, so he looks way worse.
That's what I was going to ask, if he actually looks like that.
No, he looks like he does in Pitch. He's got like longer hair that's jet black, and he's got a beard and stuff.
What's his natural hair color?
Black or brown.
So did he dye his hair for the show?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
That was also the style of the early 90s. You have to remember, early 90s was all about blonde and neon. So, like, it was not, that was a style.
Yeah, you're definitely after the Saved by the Bell era, Rob.
Yeah, because I was alive when it was airing on Saturday morning and was watching it. So, like, there is a certain nostalgia that I like about the new show.
I was just watching ESPN as a child, so I was never big on whatever the children's sitcom was of the day.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I've gone way off the rails, but yeah, so those are the big news items. The Challenge All-Stars is coming, and I had one of these things is not like the other moment when I saw the 15-second promo. They show Beth, they show Mark Long, they show Ruthie, they show Arissa, and then they showed Trishelle and Big Easy. Like, Big Easy is one of the big names they were promoting, and I was shocked. Like, shocked, I tell you, that's who they went
with that promo, it gives off the vibe like it's going to be kind of intense, right?
Yeah, it does.
Helmet with like the mohawk thing on it.
Well, the news that came out was it's basically the same version of the show we have now, but just slightly toned down. Like, it's apparently the same deal, and they're going for $500,000. Like, I expected it to be $250,000 max, and $500,000. That'll attract some people to come on the show. Like, that will lure some people out of retirement.
What are the odds we're setting on like an Arissa Katie Hall brawl?
Katie probably wins, right?
What do I know, dude? I have no clue if they're going to show up.
I cannot wait to watch this show. Like, I am so excited to cover this show.
Have like Beth trying to run the War of the Worlds one final.
And I guess we should tell everyone that now that we do plan to cover this in some way, shape, or form, unless
how
things change.
We don't know yet.
Yeah, like
we just got to leave that open ended.
Yeah, like we don't know. Like
we need to focus on under promising and over delivering instead of the inverse.
Yeah, our OG preview took 3 weeks of scheduling conflicts and people getting sick and everything else that happened. We did it. We made it happen.
And with that, Go listen to that episode if you haven't and you're interested in the upcoming All-Star season.
Our merch is currently 35% off the suggested retail price for the next 48 hours. So if you've been thinking about buying some merch, 35% off on t-shirts right now. Do it.
At bigdubdiesel.com, dub with 2 B's, and we'll leave the link to that in the show notes. If you'd leave us a rating and review, we would sincerely appreciate that as well on iTunes. It helps other people find the show. If you're watching us on Pat Mayo's YouTube channel, you can subscribe to us on our YouTube channel to see the full video, or on iTunes to get the podcast version. I think that's it. Oh, and if you want to send us a listener email, you can reach us at thechallengechronicle@gmail.com. And with that, we'll talk to you next week. Bye.